Hey, this is Pops. I'm going to talk about Landman, the latest Paramount Plus Taylor Sheridan film that kind of dives into the oil industry, the oil drilling and manipulation of the system, starring Billy Bob Thornton as the Landman. Let's get into it right now. All right, Billy Bob Thornton stars as the Landman. Taylor Sheridan's resume is always better than it is worse, right? From Yellowstone to Mayor of Kingstown to Tulsa King. Yeah, Lioness is kind of a miss for me, at least on season one. But he hits more than he misses, right? So I was excited to see what Landman had to offer. So what it's about is his character is Tommy Norris. He's the landman, the guy who's running daily operations for M-Tex Oil. They are the big oil driller that's kind of a small fish in big industry, right? So it's not Exxon, it's not Chevron. They're this little privately run thing. The owner of it is played by John Hamm. His wife is Demi Moore. They don't really matter as much. They could have been no name actors, to be perfectly honest with you. It centers around him and his family and their sort of interactions in this type of world.
Oil and gas industry makes $3 billion a day in pure profit, and it's only getting bigger. But before any of that money is made, you got to secure the land, then manage the people. That's my job. First part's pretty simple. It's the second part that can get you killed.
So Tommy's son Cooper has got one of the other key roles in this film, and I'm not familiar with the actor at this point, but I can tell you what, Cooper is this equivalent of Jimmy from Yellowstone. He's like the likable guy everyone's going to fall in love with. Everyone's going to be rooting for him to do well. I think Jacob Lawford is fine in this role. He is ultra moral, ultra like on point with his like belief systems. He's given this job. It's a no-win situation. He drops out of college at the last minute to go and work, get this on the line, and just a horrible job, right? He's put on this crew. It's an all Hispanic crew. Michael Pena's got a small role, and things go sideways right out of the gate for Cooper. Puts Tommy in a precarious situation, and obviously it creates the dynamic that kind of catapults the series for Cooper and his character. And it really is one of the best elements of the entire show is how Cooper will try to maintain his morality and how that impacts everyone else and how they react to that, because everyone's going to assume bad intentions or that there was ill will or something that got him in these situations. All of the footage and all of the stuff of how they operate and how they navigate and what actually is going on is what Taylor Sheridan does best. This is what Taylor Sheridan does. Mayor of Kingstown's highlighting the prison system, how the gangs work, things inside the yard, outside the yard, what goes on with the police. We see, of course, with Yellowstone, how politics intersects with the farming and the land ownership there and how corrupt that is on every side of the angles. Lioness does that with government and a female assassin that gets put behind. Yeah, so the Landman is like, basically pull back the curtain. This is how things operate. The show is full of commentary. if you I don't know. There's moments where it's kind of lefty politics and righty politics. I think for the most part, it's the truth through Taylor Sheridan's eyes, right? So the politics and some of the stuff kind of feels right. Other times it's lectury. It depends on who he's talked to, who he believes. But I feel like at least this is doing exactly what some of the successful stuff's done for him in the past, is it creates conversation and educates the public about how certain things kind of operate. All right, this is Tommy's ex, and yeah, this is insanely the worst part of the show. Like, I don't get it. She has a daughter. We'll get to her as well. The daughter's going to come home and spend some time with Tommy because of the spring break fiasco. And there's a boyfriend who's like a football player, and he's coming home with her as well. But this woman is just gross and appalling. And the superficial reason that Tommy liked her to begin with is the super reason he likes her now. Like, there's nothing that's changed. She has nothing to offer to the relationship. She has nothing to offer to the show. She has no real story arc. She's just the cougar becoming the, as she calls it, the girl, the grandma. And I don't want to tell you, she's dumb. She's irritating. She's emotional. She's so self-centered and narcissistic. Yeah, it's really awful. It's an awful character. All right, this is the daughter, the super hot blonde who's going from the one quarterback who won't snuggle with her to another quarterback. And it's all superficial. It's all about sex. It's all gross. She's dumb and irritating and emotional. She goes to Tommy early in the season and makes comments about how her mom would you can't talk to her mom a certain way, her mom wouldn't allow certain things. And I'm like, but that's all mom does the rest of the show. The show really exaggerates John Hamm and Demi Moore's role in this show. Demi Moore in particular is she could have been played by anybody else. Like it was clearly a name grab. Somebody who wanted to work with Taylor Sheridan, they just lowered their price so they could be part of all this. They're just like the company owners. John Hamm has a lot more scenes of just basically being the nasty, self-indulgent. I want to make a legacy. I want to live on immortal as big. I don't know. It was all fine for the story, but they didn't need to have these two big actors. The one storyline that's kind of there as well is that the cartel is constantly on their land. They steal trucks, they steal planes, they constantly are interacting with this whole thing. It's a subplot that's actually almost too busy and kind of gets forgotten for large chunks of the show and then shows up for big dramatic effects and was really, really rushed for the finale. And I'm not giving out any spoilers here, but I could just tell you, you kind of know it's not going to end the way they keep steering the ships. You're waiting for something to happen. In reality is they didn't have to do this. They could have even just shipped the cartel stuff off to another season. It is also like JV version of Breaking Bad cartel stuff. It's not really interesting. The character is not menacing at all. This is definitely not a Giancarlo Esposito guy. This guy is mediocre at best. Alex Maraz, I guess is how you say it. Maraz, it plays Jimenez. He's this local drug cartel guy, and he's all right, but it wasn't anything worth noting. The trailer doesn't really highlight some of the best elements of the show. It's kind of like making this seem like it's this family thing with the three of them. And really what ends up happening is he's so in debt, recovering from how the oil prices had plummeted previously. It led to their divorce, and now they're trying to get back together. But he lives with these two roommates. James Jordan plays Dale, and he is fantastic in this role. I love every scene that he's in. He is great. And there's highs and lows. If you love his role on the Lioness show, you're going to love him as well. He's been on pretty much all the Taylor Sheridan things, as far as I can tell. The other one is Nathan, who is basically the attorney. They live with Tommy, and the gags and the jokes, especially as the two women are there, they're running around in their skivvies, they're exercising. All of that is fantastic, and it is fun. And at least it makes light of the situation. What is really kind of weird is they make a thing where like the women have nothing to do. She's on spring break. The mom has no purpose in life. They out of the blue go to this nursing home, realize how pathetic these people's lives are, try to entertain them. So it seems like, oh, wait a minute, we're going to maybe have character growth and purpose, at least for the daughter through the mom, even if it's accidental. No, they end up taking them to a strip club and stuff. And look, I get it. And there is some conversation to be had about how we neglect our seniors and they end up in nursing homes and stuff. But the show just dove into just being gross and just all of that. All right, there's a go get 'em attorney that we could talk about or whatever, but it's Billy Bob Thornton's show from top to bottom. I feel like he's trying to play a character he wish he was in real life rather than actually being really good as Tommy. The show is fine. I enjoyed it very much. I wouldn't mind sitting through it again if when there's a season two. It sets up a season two, but it does it in a very passive way. It doesn't have some sort of like weird must see cliffhanger or anything like that. It's just a really solid show from top to bottom. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5, but the rewatchability is there. So I'm going to lean a little higher on that. So if you love what Taylor Sheridan's done, Mayor of Kingstown, if you love Tulsa King and that kind of, I think you would enjoy Landman. I think it's in that strong middle section. It's not elite. It's not, certain shows and certain seasons have been elite. I don't think Landman is anything like that, but super strong. And pretty much even the worst of Taylor Sheridan, like The Lioness season one, in my opinion, it's usually better than just about everything else that's out there anyway. So if you're not familiar with it, I would recommend most of those. If you want to check out the playlist, or you want to check out my channel, I've done a ton of videos on these kinds of things from Tulsa King to Mayor of Kingstown, etc. So some of those videos are out there for you to check out as well. But thanks for watching, everybody. I am Pops.